Welcome to my channel, The Human Frontier. I didn't ask who they were. That was my first mistake. Out on the edges of known space, you learn quickly, questions get you into trouble. The fewer you ask, the longer you survive. So when I found them stranded in the dark between stars, I didn't ask. I just helped. And that one decision changed everything. The call I almost ignored. My name is Rylan Cade. Independent pilot. Salvage runner. Occasional smuggler, depending on who you ask. My ship, the Driftwing, wasn't much to look at. Old hull, patched systems, engines that sounded like they were always one jump away from failure. But she flew. And out here. That was enough. I was running a quiet route through the Kareth expanse when the signal came in. Weak. Broken. Barely there. A distress call. I stared at the console. Yeah, not my problem, I muttered. Distress calls in this region were rarely what they seemed. Traps. Ambushes. Bait. I'd learned that the hard way. I reached for the controls to ignore it. Then hesitated. Damn it. The wreck. The source of the signal wasn't far. A small vessel. Or what was left of it. The hull was torn open, drifting in silence among fragments of debris. Whatever had hit it, hadn't held back. Definitely a bad day for someone, I said quietly. I circled the wreck once, scanning for life signs. Faint. But there. All right, I sighed. Let's see who you are. I docked carefully, sealing the connection before stepping into the damaged ship. The air inside was thin. Cold. Barely breathable. Emergency lights flickered weakly along the corridor. And somewhere inside, someone was still alive. The survivors. I found them in what used to be a passenger chamber. 2 of them. A woman. And a younger girl. The woman was unconscious, slumped against the wall, her clothing torn and stained. The girl sat beside her, failing to keep her awake. When she saw me, she flinched. Hard. Like she expected me to be the worst thing she'd ever seen. Easy, I said, raising my hand slightly. Not here to hurt you. She didn't respond. Just stared. Her eyes were different. Bright. Too bright. Not human. Not anything I recognized. Are you alone? I asked. She nodded slowly. Anyone else on board? A pause. Then a quiet. No. I glanced at the woman. She your mother? Another hesitation. Yes. No time to think. The ship wasn't stable. I could feel it. Hear it. Metal groaning under stress. We didn't have time for introductions. All right, I said. We're leaving. The girl looked uncertain. You will help us? Yeah. Why? I shrugged. Because you asked. She didn't seem convinced. But she didn't argue. The escape. I lifted the woman carefully. She was lighter than I expected. Too light. Like she'd already lost too much. Stay close, I told the girl. She followed without a word. We made it back to the airlock just as the wreck shifted violently. Time's up, I muttered. We crossed into the Driftwing, sealing the hatch behind us. Moments later, the wreck collapsed in on itself. Gone. Like it had never been there at all. The silence that followed. I set the ship on a steady course away from the debris field. Then turned to look at them. The girl sat quietly beside the woman, watching me. Still cautious. Still unsure. Med bay's that way, I said, nodding toward the back of the ship. She didn't move. You want her to live? I asked. That got her attention. Yes. Then we should probably get her treated. That was enough. The first clue. The med scanner lit up as soon as I activated it. And immediately, something felt off. That's not normal, I said. The readings were strange. Their biology didn't match any standard database. Not human. Not any registered species. And definitely not something I should be dealing with. I looked at the girl. You want to explain this? She shook her head. No. Great. The people who came looking. We didn't get far. About 2 hours out. My senses lit up. Multiple ships. Fast. Too fast. Yeah, that's not good, I muttered. The girl tensed. They found us. Who's they? She didn't answer. Didn't need to. The ships moved into formation around us. Weapons armed. No hesitation. All right, I said. Now I'm asking questions. The truth I didn't want. They are not here to help us, she said quietly. Yeah, I figured that. They want us back. Why? Silence. Then. Because we are not what you think. I leaned back in my seat. Yeah. I'm starting to get that. The chase. They didn't wait. The first shots hit my shields before I could finish the sentence. Hold on, I shouted. The ship jolted as I pushed the engines to their limit. We weren't built for combat. We weren't built for speed. But we were built to run. And right now, that was enough. The skill I didn't want to use. I weaved through an asteroid cluster, forcing the pursuing ships to break formation. One of them followed. Too close. Too aggressive. Big mistake, I muttered. I cut power suddenly, letting inertia carry us forward. The pursuing ship overshot. Just enough. I spun us around and fired. One shot. Direct hit. The ship exploded. The others hesitated. Just for a moment. But a moment was all I needed. The revelation. You are skilled, the girl said quietly. Yeah, I try. You fight like someone who has survived many things. That's one way to put it. She looked at me. Then said the one thing I wasn't expecting. You have saved us. Yeah. You do not know who we are. Nope. She hesitated. Then. We are royal blood. I blinked. You're kidding. I am not. I laughed. Of course you are. Everything made sense. Suddenly, it all clicked. The attack. The strange biology. The ships chasing us. Let me guess, I said. You're important. Yes. And a lot of people want you. Yes. And now I'm involved. Yes. I sighed. Great. The choice I had to make. I could have dropped them. Handed them over. Walked away. That's what most people would do. That's what I should have done. But I didn't. Because I had already made my choice the moment I answered that signal. All right, I said. Then we finish this. The last stand. I set a course toward a nearby nebula. Unstable. Dangerous. Perfect. They will not follow us there, she said. Good. Because I wasn't planning to run anymore. The final move. The nebula tore at our systems as we entered. Sensors went wild. Signals distorted. Perfect cover. The pursuing ships followed. Of course they did. I smiled. Bad decision. I triggered the one thing I had been saving. A controlled overload of the ship's external energy grid. The pulse spread through the nebula. Amplified. Unstable. And devastating. The enemy ships didn't stand a chance. The end, and the beginning. When it was over. The silence returned. I leaned back in my seat. Well, that was fun. The girl looked at me. You risked everything. Yeah. Why? I thought about it. Then answered honestly. Because you needed someone to. What came next? We didn't go back to my old roots. Didn't go back to normal. Because there was no going back. Not after this. Because sometimes you help someone without knowing who they are. And sometimes that someone turns out to be more important than you ever imagined. And sometimes that one decision changes everything. Thank you for listening. Subscribe for more cinematic science fiction stories.